What's up, everybody? Welcome to Breaking Boundaries podcast. On here, we talk about everything and anything that has to do with mental health, spiritual wellness, and physical fitness.
What up, man?
What up, bro?
One, two, three, four.
On episode 4.
Wow, dude, we're killing it.
Yeah, dude, I'm stoked on what we're doing here. I think these discussions are helpful for hopefully the people watching, helpful for us too. I love that we bring light to the positive side of life, and not always politically correct, which I don't want to be. And we say stuff with tough love sometimes, I think, but that's needed, right?
That's what people need to hear, man. And that's the thing. It's like in anywhere in my life, my relationships or whoever it is, like if you want to get to know me, watch this show because I'm going to speak my truth, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to speak my truth. And if it hurts, there's something inside of you. There's some truth to it, man. You know? So, that's what I love about this show. I feel like it's a safe place for me to just speak my truth, man. You know what I mean? And I've spent my fucking whole life watering it down for other people, and not speaking my truth, not being able to be my true self,
Yeah.
And that's prison, man.
Yeah, man, because even if we say some things that, like, I don't expect everyone to agree with everything we say, right? And that's the beauty of doing something like this, is like it opens up discussion, right? And someone that I know watched our last episode, and he had some questions about some of the things we were talking about, and we had a good discussion, man. And he was questioning something we said, and I kind of explained where we were coming from with it, and like it allowed when I explained it, it allowed him to look through a different lens, right? And he's like, fair enough, I get that, and so like I love opening up discussion, because that's what we need. It's like society, we shut ourselves out to, we shut ourselves away from open-mindedness these days, you know what I mean? And so I think the more we can have conversation, even if we don't agree, the better the world is, right? Because when things really go south is when there's no discussion being had, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing. People, you got to start asking questions, man. Don't even just listen to us. I'm not trying to be anybody's. I want everybody to come up with their own opinion. The problem is that people don't ask questions anymore. They just follow. They're sheep, and they just follow whatever it is, whatever political party it is, whatever church it is, whoever their mentor is. Become your own mentor. Figure things out on yourself. I teach this to my kids, man. I tell my kids this, and parents would think I'm crazy, man, but I tell my son, I said, son, don't listen to me. I said, I'll give you an opinion, but ask 5 people and come up with your own idea. Be free.
I love that.
Be free to think yourself, you know what I mean? And not have to follow any kind of herd,
Yep, absolutely. It's so important, man, because when we don't do that, there's no, that, following the herd hinders innovation. Following the herd stops us from thinking freely. It stops us from being able to, open our lens. It's never good to follow the herd. And I love disagreeing with people when I can have a discussion about our disagreement. And we may end up agreeing to disagree, right? But it's so healthy. It's so healthy for the mind to have those discussions. I can disagree with someone and I'm still going to love you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
But we got to have discussions even about things we don't agree on.
But that comes from being open-minded.
Sure.
Being able to react in that way. I'm very open-minded also, but the main thing is you're killing God's greatest gift that he gave us, and it's called creativity.
Absolutely.
You're stopping your creativity by following others.
Definitely.
Simple as that, dude.
Definitely.
Even kids just following in your parents' footsteps, or in somebody else's. You're killing your creativity. Like, come up with your own idea what life's about.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna say that I know anything. You know, I don't. I speak facts, and they're facts because they're my truth, and I've lived it. You know, so when you ask me questions about what do you think about, it's really hard for me to speak opinions, man, because I don't know. You
Yeah,
know, I don't know. You got to figure out. You have to go on your own journey. You know, you got to. Every being must search his own soul. You know, and find its own way.
absolutely, absolutely. And we're lucky these days. Like we have the internet, you know. And I'm not saying, oh, you can believe everything on the internet, but we have so many resources to learn, and we have so many resources to look out at what's going on in the world and form our own opinions about, you know, everything around us. And I love that. I know there's a lot of negative on the internet, but you can use it for a lot of good. And you know, we're lucky to have that because our parents didn't have that, you know. And that's why there's this guy Justin Waller, I've talked about him before, and he always talks about how, like, you know, we'll look sometimes and say, you know, my dad never did this for me or didn't do that for me. And he's always like, yeah, that's true, but he just didn't know how to go about doing those things. Be graceful with your father. He always says that, you know. And he's like, because you're lucky you have more resources to learn how to achieve the things you want. Back before the internet, you had to you know, take different routes to actually achieve things. So
Yeah, and that's how I feel about like my father. You know, he was a good man, and he meant well, but all he knew was what he knew. Mm-hmm. You know, what was passed down before him. That's all he knew.
Yep.
So I definitely don't hold it against him. You know.
Yeah.
But we know, we're aware, right?
Yep.
Right. We're aware, and so therefore we take action.
Absolutely.
We're aware. So if you watch this podcast and you're aware of generational trauma and how it's passed along, and you look into it, you're aware now. Now you have a responsibility to fix that and not pass it on to your children.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? We're adults. We have the internet. We have the outlets to find these things. It's not a secret, man. People are awakening everywhere. This stuff is all over the internet. You know, so there's no excuse.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, definitely use the internet as a resource, but don't just scroll. And, you know, I encourage people, don't just scroll all day and keep all this negative, you know, this negative content that's flowing into your brain, scrolling through everything on the internet. Like, we kind of talked about it before. A lot of people, you know, the internet can make you depressed just sitting there comparing yourself to people on the internet and just taking in all this negative content, right? And so definitely use the internet as a resource, but make sure that you're not allowing the negativity that's out there to flood your brain, right? Like, because to improve, we have to remove negativity, negative energy, negative information, negative advice from our lives, right?
Absolutely, because that's being embedded in your brain. So people might, even when you're listening to rap music and negative music or whatnot, and you say, oh, well, it's just, I just enjoy it. It doesn't matter. There's a signal going to your brain, which is then changing your emotions, which is then creating your reality. Everything that comes out of our mouths and into our ears is affecting us, and then it changes our emotions, and then we start manifesting those things in our life.
Yep.
And sure, maybe you're just listening to a rap song, you don't think it's a big deal, but how's your life look?
Yeah.
You know, so how's your life look? Try me on it. Try me on not having negative conversations, not listening to negative people, and not watching anything negative on TV. Try that for a month, and then tell me if anything changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And definitely remove negative people from your life.
Ooh, that's mandatory.
Yep.
You know, that's life or death for me, personally. You know, once you get into this energy thing and you start flying on this higher disc, like that's mandatory. Like I that comes first, man. I will cut anybody off. You know, I just will, and especially my loved ones. Especially my loved ones, man, because they affect me the most. You know how we were talking earlier about how you go down that rabbit hole, that negative vibration, you start creating this whole negative aspect that's not real. That really happens with loved ones because of the connection you have, the soul contract that you have, you know. And so especially at the beginning of my journey, man, it was like I didn't feel one bit bad about it because I just had this knowing, like, this is my journey, this is what I have to do, and I cut people out of my life, man. If you had negative energy and it affects me, because if it affects me, okay, I love you, but you're affecting me. So now my other relationships aren't healthy, right? But they teach you that to love somebody for you to sacrifice yourself. How does that even make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So we
Yeah.
think we're doing it out of love. Now we got two people in a bad place, right?
Yep.
But we're so committed to others, man. We're so base our love and our heart out of other people and relationships, because we're not whole by ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, and the way we're shaped as a society, we're taught that that's the way to live. Care more about others than yourself.
Right.
Right.
And I'm not saying not to, don't get me wrong, man. I love people. I feel for people. I love helping people, right? But if it affects me, if it brings me down, how many people can I help? If I'm letting one person bring me down, how many people am I able to help? How am I to be there for my kids and my friends and everybody else? And how am I going to be on this show speaking anything positive if I got that one contract with somebody that I let them just tear my life down?
Right. That's exactly what I was going to say, too. Like, you're only as strong as the weakest person in your life, right? So you're only as strong as the weakest person you're surrounding yourself with. So if you're surrounding yourself with negative vibes, how are you supposed to bring positivity to anyone else in your life?
You're not, because
Right.
you're being programmed.
Absolutely.
You're being programmed, and people don't even realize it because they're so used to it. And that's what you have to do, man. You have to isolate, dude. You got to isolate it first, man. You know that.
Absolutely.
You're going through it.
Yeah.
You have to fucking isolate, dude. You have to forget everything that you ever known or ever learned or thought that you fucking knew. You have to clean the computer, slate clean. You have to reboot it, right? And then start coming up with new programs to put in your head. And that's where it starts.
Yeah.
So getting in a relationship when you're going through your spiritual healing, no, man, it's not you, especially a relationship. You have to be with them every day. You want to heal first.
Yeah,
You want to
absolutely.
heal first before you make those decisions.
Right. And it's like what we were talking about before. Like, we talked about this a few days ago when we were chatting it up, and I was telling you about this guy Alex Hormozy, and he's talked about this where, like, when you're improving yourself and you're on your path to success, whatever that success might be, you're gonna hit a lonely chapter. If you're changing and the people around you aren't, you're gonna hit a lonely chapter where you may love these people, but you can't associate with them anymore because they're not on your path. But you're not successful enough yet to surround yourself with the people you want to surround yourself with, or you even mentioned, like, you may not even know those people that you want to surround yourself with yet. And so you just got to isolate and stay focused on your path. And that's so important, man, because like you said, where we're communal creatures, right? Like, we always want to be around people, and so feeling lonely can be tough, but it's so necessary to get where you're going. And that really helped me when I heard that, because it made me realize, okay, maybe I am doing the right thing, right? Maybe I am doing the right thing by kind of pushing some of this out of my life and then focusing on where I want to go so that I can bring some of this in, right? And for a minute there, I thought, man, I'm spending a lot of time by myself. Am I just isolating and being antisocial and not doing what's right for myself? But I'm starting to realize I'm not, because life is feeling better. Mm-hmm. I'm feeling more positive every day. I have goals in my mind. I'm not just going out with people and partying and wasting my time away. Like, I have goals in my mind that I work toward every single day, right? And
that feels amazing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I linked up with you, and now we're doing this.
Yeah.
So something's going right.
Yeah. And that wouldn't happen if you were around those people. It wouldn't happen.
Yep.
You had to clear it out.
Exactly.
And here's sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But here's the kicker out of it, is you go through that lonely phase, right? And then you become so okay with yourself. It's not lonely anymore, but you still don't want to be around people. But that's where it comes from, sitting with yourself you know, and so because it's been 3 years for me for now, and I love being by myself, man. I'm so okay with it. I don't need anything, bro. I don't need anybody. I do love people, and I do hang out with people, and I do talk to people, but you could take everything from me right now. Everything, my car, my home, my business, you could take everything from me, and I'm still going to have that joy, bro, because of that lonely time, right? Because of that lonely time. And God does that on purpose. That's how it has to be,
I love that. Yeah, I like that. You kind of got to get to the point where you're okay with just being with yourself before you're going to be beneficial to being with anyone else. That makes a lot of sense to me. I love that. And if anyone else is going through this, just know you're on the right path. Stay
Absolutely.
focused, keep your goals in mind, and work toward what you want. And you may feel a little alone, but I promise you you're exactly where you should be right now.
Oh man, there's so much light on the other side. There's just this it's fucking night and day, man. You just can't even compare. It's a freedom. It's a freedom of being by yourself and being okay with yourself.
Right.
And loving yourself, you know what I mean, and not caring what anybody fucking thinks. I mean, everybody cares what everybody thinks.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know, and that's it's freedom, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And doesn't that feel good to be able to say, I love myself? I mentioned that before when we were talking, I think on a previous episode or at one time, because like I said before, we always come back to this place of making sure we're encouraging improvement, right? And I didn't know like loving yourself before, but now I do, and man, it feels good. Feels so good to be able to appreciate life. It's easy for us as humans because the world is so fast paced, and we're stuck. A lot of people are stuck in a job that they hate, they don't want to go to every day, and it's really easy to kind of lose sight of who you really are, and it's easy to be negative. It's easy to feel that negativity, and when we do that, when we surround our inner soul with negativity, and we allow ourselves to feel that every day, it creates a cycle in our brain, and then we don't know how to live without the negativity. We don't feel right if things are going right. And
Yeah.
so it's amazing to get to that point where you're like, you know what? I'm not going to be a negative person anymore. I'm going to look for the good in every situation, and I'm going to fucking love me.
Yeah, yeah, and then here, and for a man to say that, I love myself, right? Because any fucking man out there, you can't. Men are biggest self critics, and they need things to feel self worth, so they're full of shit to say that that's any kind of being weakness or anything like that. You know what I mean? Because you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
bro? Because like as you're saying it, dude, I'm thinking of like the old me, and you would never fucking catch me. You know what I mean? I was never taught to be like that, man. But it fucking starts there, and then love yourself, right? In society, they call it selfish, right? Selfish. When we sit here and we talk about this stuff about work on yourself first, forget other people, leave your loved ones. We're saying all this stuff, because I had a negative comment from actually a family member that says that was saying it about that, and man, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Do you? If you're honest with yourself, right, you're going to know what the right thing is. It's going to direct you. God's going to direct you in every direction that you need to go. If you're honest with yourself, you can feel it, what's right and what's wrong.
Yep.
You don't have to question it. And that's where you take everybody's opinion out of your life. You have to take everybody else's opinion. You have to not care what anybody fucking thinks. And then the journey can begin.
Yep. You got to trust yourself. You got to trust that you know what you want for yourself, and that you know what's right for yourself, and you got to follow that path. And you let too many people come in telling you how you should or shouldn't be doing things, it distracts you from actually going down that path and getting what you want.
Absolutely.
Right? And so yeah, trusting yourself is hard too, but you got to do it. You got to look at the things you want. We're always talking about inner work. You got to sit with yourself and really meditate on what you want, and you got to work for it, and you got to trust. As humans, we want instant gratification.
Absolutely.
And when we don't get it, there's uncertainty.
Yeah.
And uncertainty is difficult for us. But you got to live with that uncertainty. and you got to trust that you know what's best for you. And I was talking to a friend today, and he told me about a book, and now my mind's drawing a blank. I want to say the book was called something like Fear, Do It Anyway. But in any case, it was, and I got to ask him again because now I want to read it. It was basically my understanding from what he told me about it. It's talking about how we're going to be fearful of doing things, and you got to do it anyway. Like, and how like anxiety, when people say I have anxiety, and I know the feeling people are talking about when they say they have anxiety, but really what anxiety is fear of uncertainty. You
Sure.
don't know what's going to happen, and so you're afraid. Your heart starts racing. You start getting all these horrible feelings inside because you're not sure where you're headed or what's going to happen with some situation that's going on in your life. And sometimes we get anxiety over taking new steps, right? And we get fearful of it, but you got to do it anyway.
Yeah, and that's, and yeah, back to like trusting yourself, and the way you do that is with small wins. You know, because you don't trust yourself because you continue to let yourself down your whole life. I know I had. You know, so when you start getting those small wins, then you realize you can do anything, right? You start building confidence and trust with yourself, not with other people. And that's how you start building yourself up, with those small wins.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we always want big things to happen all at once, but you're right, man. Look for those little things that happen each day, and if you have a goal in mind, you have 100% of what you want in mind. Shoot for 0.5% of that to happen tomorrow. Shoot for 1% of that to happen. Shoot for 0.25% of that to happen. Just take it day by day. Take it step by step, and eventually those things will happen.
Yeah, and we say we want it all at once, but if we got it all at once, we wouldn't keep it.
We wouldn't know what to do with it.
We wouldn't keep it. So the process is what gets you to be able to keep that thing or that place you want to get. And if you want it faster, you have to fall in love with the process. If you want to get to your destination faster, you have to fall in love with the process of it. You know, I go through all kinds of stuff, starting a business and doing this and all that stuff, and I smile while I'm fucking doing it, because I know if I smile while I'm doing it, I'm going to get to where I want to be faster. But when you're negative about it and all this and all that, and that, you're just slowing yourself down.
Yeah, absolutely. There's this guy. Have you heard of Andrew Huberman?
No, but I've heard of Andrew Tate, and I love that guy.
Canceled.
I love Andrew Tate, bro. I don't care, man, because
Yeah.
he says it how it is.
Yeah,
dude.
absolutely,
You know?
absolutely. Yeah. I understand that there's a lot of satire from him out on the internet, and a lot of people don't understand him. But you know what? He's helped a lot of young men, man. He's made a lot of young men understand their self-worth and that they're worth something in life. And he does it in a tough love way. Like, he'll say, just like we're always saying to each other, don't be a little bitch.
Yeah.
You know, but he's helped a lot of
But it's
people.
that dude has love in his heart, bro.
I agree.
You know, and if you're not biased and you're open-minded, you can see that.
Yeah.
You know, and he did change. And I love about him because it's truth, bro. I don't care who you are or what you're talking about. If I can see the truth in your eyes, I love it, man. When people are getting vulnerable and they're telling their deepest, darkest secrets or their pain and whatnot, I love it, dude, because it's truthful, it's pure. I can see it, the pureness in a man. So I don't care what you're talking about. I don't care what my opinion is about. If you're speaking truth, love it, dude.
Yep.
Love it.
Yep. Authenticity is key. Just real quick, going back to Andrew Huberman, he's like a psychologist.
Yeah, my bad.
And no worries.
I just love it. I just love Andrew Tate, bro.
I know. I'm with you on that 100%. And when I hear the name Andrew, it triggers me real quick for a second, too.
There's only one Andrew, bro. There's only one Andrew.
So Andrew Huberman, I believe he's a psychologist, and he talks a lot about kind of what you were talking about with loving the process, falling in love with the process. And what he talks about is how when we're trying to achieve something and we have a goal in mind and we're looking to reach a goal, there's dopamine, you know, being released throughout your brain, right? Because you feel this purpose to achieve something that you're interested in achieving. So, you know, dopamine is responsible for a feeling of motivation, right? So it's a neurotransmitter, and it hits receptors in our brain, and it gives us a feeling of motivation, and gives us drive. And so when we're looking to reach a goal, there's dopamine. Dopamine's going, going, going. And when we reach the goal, and I believe the way he explained it, when we reach the goal too fast and we don't have any more steps to take after reaching that goal, we release a ton of dopamine all at once, and we flood our receptors with dopamine. And then when that dopamine is gone, we crash because there's nowhere else to go, right? And so you're right. The process, loving the process, falling in love with the process, and working at something, the process of achieving that goal gives us a constant supply of dopamine because we keep going and we keep going and we keep going. And so that makes a lot of sense. You got to love the process. I love that you said that because it makes so much sense. And I think we don't understand that a lot. A lot of the time we're just focused on the goal, and we're not focused on recognizing the wins that we make to achieve that goal, you know?
Yeah, and then when you get there, you're not happy with that, and you want more.
Yep.
You know, which we've talked about that, and that is a good to you know, when there's a hill like you explained before, and always having another hill to climb, you know, that's great. But think about it: you're working and doing all this for this thing. Then you get there, and the gratification lasts a day, 2 days, 3 days. So I just spent all my energy focused on this thing, sacrificing everything else in my life for this thing, usually a material thing, because I've done it. You know, I do it, man, you know. And then you get there, and then you're like, oh, this is cool.
Yep. Yep.
So what was it for?
Exactly.
Right? So if you fall in love with the process, you know, and you know, you conquer things in the process. You know, you, oh man, something bad. Oh man, I learned something from that. Man, I learned something. So if you focus on how better you're getting because of it, especially the negative things, it just makes it all the much better, man.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love chasing after things, dude. I love it. I love new projects, you know, and I love doing that stuff. But you know, you gotta smile on the way up, dude. Or
Yeah.
you're not gonna be smiling when you get there.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean, bro? You're just not, dude.
Yep, definitely. I think a way that people can kind of understand what we're saying here is like, you know, everyone, well, not everyone, but most people have been on some sort of like a vacation or a trip, right? And have you ever had that feeling where you're planning this trip and you have this trip planned, and then finally the trip comes and you have a great time on that trip, and you know you're gone, say, in a cabin, you know, in Yosemite or something for a week, and you have a great time on that trip, and then you get home and you feel kind of drained, and you're like, oh man, like you just have this feeling of like melancholy.
Yeah, you need another vacation.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that relates a lot to what we're saying. You put all this time into making this trip, and then it's finally over, and you're like, shit, now what?
Yeah.
Right? And so I agree. Gotta find the daily wins. And yes, we want to achieve our goals, but we want to appreciate the steps toward achieving those goals, because that's what feels better.
Right, and that comes to living in the moment, staying in the present. That's like one of the hardest things for me, is staying in the present, man. Mm-hmm. You know, and you're gonna get there faster if you just stay in the present.
Yeah,
You know?
definitely.
It's been a lot of just accepting, like, okay, it's gonna happen when it's gonna happen. I'm gonna continue to take action, not forced action. I'm continuing to take action. I'm gonna continue to work on myself. I'm gonna continue to prioritize my relationships with my children and ones that I'm close to. You know, we're just gonna cruise there, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna cruise there.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's so important, to just wake up and enjoy that day. Don't think about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just enjoy what you have coming today. Enjoy the moment that you're in, and you know, have plans for the future, have ambitions for the future, but love the moment, because you don't know when your moment's gonna end.
You don't, man. And focus on your wins. Focus on your wins each day. Everybody has. I win every day. You know, there's people. You know, people that celebrate their birthday, and their birthday's a big deal. You know, they'll be 30, 40 years old, man. Their birthday's such a big deal because they don't have anything else to celebrate, bro. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They don't have anything else to celebrate, bro. You know, it's just what it is. And Sada Guru, I just heard this the other day, and he's talking about people celebrating the new year. You know, one day out of the year. And what, you're closer to fucking death? You know, you should be celebrating every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's kind of like with excuse me. It's kind of like with like, you know, I know I have friends, and I think everyone does, that kind of use like weed and alcohol on a daily basis, you know, and like they need that every day, right? Because it's almost like it's all they have to look forward to. Like if they just drink one day or just smoke one time, then, you know, they feel like there's nothing else to look forward to doing. And it's one, because of the way those things affect your brain, but, you know, they can't focus on just that one time of doing that and saying, "Oh, that was a good time," and then move on to the next win in life. It's like they gotta keep their mind in that state where they always have that instant gratification to look forward to. And I said that in the beginning, and it's true. We're always looking for that gratification, and and when we do that, again, it drains our dopamine, and that's why we need more alcohol, or we need you know, more weed, or whatever it is. And it's not just dopamine. I mean, there's a lot of neurotransmitters in our brain, serotonin and all that, but we're always looking to flood our brain with it instead of just, you know, going with the flow and saying, I'm gonna be happy with each step that I take. It's like we need that flood of whatever those drugs and alcohol give us, or whatever, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't ever have a drink, or don't ever, you know, smoke a little here and there. I personally don't, and I try to stay away from it. But man, sometimes, like, because we can't, like you said, we can't like focus on our daily wins. We need that as humans, and we don't need it, but that's what we turn to get that feeling of feel good, instead of just being, like you said, in the present.
Yeah, and that's but you know, people do that with everything. Food, money, relationships, sex, right? And it's instant gratification, but it stems from a problem because they're not happy with themselves. You know, you get satisfaction out of food, right? You know, even people that love food and they're foodies, you know, there's something missing.
Yeah.
There's something missing. And I noticed that because once I started my spiritual awakening, bro, like I don't give a shit about food. I just eat just to eat. You know what I mean? Just
Right.
because I have to. You know, so the more happy you are. Now, if I'm not in a good, and I had a bad day, you're going to catch me eating sweets and eating a bunch of food, right? But when I'm happy and I'm enjoying my vibrations high, I don't want to fucking eat. You know, and so it's like being aware of those things. And I know, and I work in the cannabis industry, and I see people in their everyday, and they're smoking weed all the fucking time. They're in there every day, but they insist they don't have a problem, that it's just weed. But dude, if you didn't, man, then you would be happy without it. You wouldn't have to have it. You know, if
Right.
you have to have anything, right? Unless it's for survival, water and food. If you have to have it to be at peace, there's something missing inside. There's something missing in your fucking life.
Right.
So you have to go inside. You have to go internal and figure out what that is and look at yourself. You know, you can't, yeah. And I'm not disagreeing weed, and they got microdosing, and everybody's doing their different things, and I'm not knocking it, and whatever works for them, that's cool. But I'm telling you, there's something still wrong, and you're not fixing the problem.
Right. Right. And dependence is a bitch. I mean, that destroys us mentally, being dependent on something. And I understand people say, well, you know, weed isn't addictive. Well, maybe it's not physically addictive, where you're going to go through withdrawals, if you know, physical withdrawals, if you stop using it. But if you have to have it all the time, there's some sort of dependence on it, right? And if you're unhappy without it, there's some sort of dependence on it. And that's no way to live life, in my mind. Um, you know, and even like, you know, I know people who, like, you know, psychedelics and stuff like that, and like, oh, psychedelics aren't addictive. Yeah, but you're taking them all the time because you think you find happiness in it. And and again, I'm not knocking, having a dose here and there, but like, don't be dependent on it. Don't let it take your life to the point where you're unhappy without it. And that's what happens to a lot of people.
Because you're looking outside of yourself.
Yeah.
Again, you're looking outside of yourself for joy.
Yep.
And so whether it's weed, drugs, people, sex, food, whatever it is, right? You're looking outside of yourself. You don't have to look anywhere, man. You don't have to look anywhere. I'm telling you, you just got to look within.
Yep. Yep. Agreed. Yeah, and when you don't look within, that's the way to stay unhappy for life, man.
Yeah.
Because then you don't know yourself.
Yeah, and I know it's hard, man, and I know it's scary. I know it is to sit with yourself, and try to figure it out, man, by yourself, dude. I know it is, but you have to. It's a must.
Yeah.
For me, it's life or death, man.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, and again, just to reiterate, once you do that, it feels great. You want that dopamine rush, man? Get to know yourself and feel good about yourself. Build some confidence. Feel good about waking up every day and achieving whatever the day brings. That's.
My God, and life is so short, man. Not to know yourself your whole life, not to be okay your whole life, to live in fear, insecure, to be that way your whole. Come on, dude. Sometimes
Yep.
it's just like, come on, man. But you don't know any other way.
Yeah.
But until you take some action, until you take a step, you're not gonna know. But I feel for people, and I see them. I'm just like, man, I wish you just knew how great I feel.
Yeah.
And I used to feel like you. And I want them to just know. I want people to feel what I feel, man. I want them to have the freedom that I have.
Right.
And hopefully we can do it through this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand some people don't have the guidance to get there on their own, right?
Right, they don't know.
Yeah. Some people, it is beneficial to have guidance from people who have been through things to help you get through it, or but again, we do have the internet and there's a lot of information out there. But I understand some people suffer, some sort of mental illness, or they're depressed all the time or whatever. And man, people that are depressed a lot of time don't even want to get out of bed, can't even build the strength to take a shower, the mental strength to take a shower. It's not even about physical strength. They can't even build the mental strength to want to get up and do anything. And it's like, you and I'm sure we've talked about it a little bit before, been in situations like that in life where, things just aren't going right, and we're not feeling good about life. And luckily for us, we were, I think based on our conversations, we've both been able to find that guidance or find that within ourselves to kind of dig ourselves out of that. And I understand not a lot of people, not everyone necessarily has that guidance, but I can guarantee you, if you work at trying to find that guidance, or if you just work at restructuring your brain, shifting your paradigm, changing the way you think, if you work at it, it doesn't happen instantly, but it's possible.
Yeah, and I know that feeling, man, that there's no way out.
Mm-hmm.
I know when you're talking about it right now, there's no way out. You're just looking for a way out, but there is, dude. There is a way out, and if you find it and if you ask for it, it will be revealed to you, but I know that ugly feeling, man, where everything's just crashing down, and it's just like a fucking wall around you, and you just feel like there's nowhere to go, no way to run.
Yep. I know it too, man. And quite honestly, people that go through things like that, there's a reason for it, probably. Like in the bigger picture, there's probably a reason for it, and you probably need to go through those feelings because there's something, some achievement in the future that you're gonna make because you experience those things.
Yeah, it's the
But
breaking out process.
yeah,
When you feel like there's no way out and then you break out of it, like that's the comeback story, man.
yep,
You know, when you're at spiritual death
mm-hmm,
and you come out of that, the rebirth, dude,
yep,
forget about, and not only that, man, but nothing can hurt you after that.
yeah,
Nothing can hurt you after that.
yeah. You're unbreakable.
You're unfucking breakable, man. When you come out of that mental trap, dude. Because I've been in it, man. I've been in it. You can't hurt me now, because of it. You can put a dent in me. We could have some relationship. I'm not saying I can't be hurt. You can put a dent, but you can't fucking put me back there.
Yeah.
You can't take it. You can't, dude. There's nothing.
So I mean, okay. So talking about that, what when you went through that period of your life and you feel like you were there, what are some specific things that you did that you had to go through to get yourself to see that you could break out of it?
I had no choice. I had no choice. It was either that or death. I had no choice, and so I didn't find something; it found me.
Mm,
I didn't find something; it found me. It was the decision that I do want to live. I do want to live, and then the answers came to me.
I love that. That makes a lot of sense.
Because I didn't take any normal step. I don't think I even. Maybe I did. Maybe I did. I don't think I lived for it. I just said no. That's not. It's not going to be me. And then the answers came. So once you make that decision, you make that decision like, no, I'm going to push forward. No, this is not it. It's going to come to you.
So acknowledge there's a way out.
Acknowledge there's a way out, right? Because what you believe is what things are going to be. So it all comes back to faith and belief in things. All this stuff that we talk about, man, you have to believe in it. You have to believe in yourself. And they say it in the Bible and in churches and the spiritual world. And everything is about faith and believing that you can have it. So as soon as that clicks, that belief system comes back, where you're not going to die, where you're going to come out of it, the answers are going to come to you. God, the universe, and everything is going to be put in the perfect place at the perfect time for you to grow.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can relate to that or need to hear that shift your paradigm a little bit, maybe start realizing that you are in control of your mind and that you can look at life differently. And again, it's not there's no cure all. There's nothing that you can't just take a pill and be okay. And in fact, when you take pills for things, it's probably going to make you worse.
You're going to slow the process down.
It's going to band-aid the feeling in the moment maybe, but it's going to make things worse. But yeah, I love that. Realize that you can think differently, that you can change the way you think, and then the solutions come.
Yeah. You just have to face it.
Yeah.
You just got to face it, man. You just got to face it and get past that fear and just face it. Okay, here I am. I got nowhere else to go. Take me.
Right.
What do I got to do? You just got to stand up and make a declaration today, man. No fucking more. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to fall victim to my circumstances. That's not going to be me anymore. And you don't have to do nothing. The answers are going to come, bro.
That's good stuff.
Just got to make the decision, man.
I love that. And I think the people watching do too.
Yeah.
Because I've been there too, and I can relate. And I guess hearing you say that, I guess I had a similar experience where like I didn't go searching. I just one day decided like I don't want to feel this way anymore. I want to feel good about life, and I want to feel like true love internally for myself and my life, and I want to know what it feels like to feel that gratitude just to be alive that everyone talks about. And then when I started thinking differently, I started having new information come in, and and some of that came from the internet because I opened my mind to maybe some of the positive content I saw on the internet. And some of that came from people in my life because I opened my mind to trusting some people
Right.
and realizing that some of the people maybe I trusted before I shouldn't. And you're right. I guess like it does just kind of come to you. You just got to decide that's what you want.
Yeah, that's it. Enough is enough. Fucking enough is enough, man. You know, how much more pain am I going to cause myself and my loved ones? How much longer am I going to live in this despair? No. The answer is fucking no. You know, and when you feel that and you fucking mean that, dude, it's on, man. It's on. It's literally, I got goosebumps right now. It's just a decision. You just have to stand up and make the decision.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's I love hearing you talk about this stuff because like just now, like I'm like sitting there thinking about like, oh, what steps can people take, and then I ask you that question, and then you open my eyes up to a different lens, and it's like, oh, you know what? Actually, that's true. That is how things come together. Sometimes you just make the one decision, and then everything starts changing.
Yeah, and and that's what it's such a thin line, man. And when I see people in this pain, you know, I just want to tell them, man, it's just one fucking decision, man. One decision, and you got to mean it. And that's it. You know, and there's joy and bliss and fucking happiness and there's so many great things in this world. There's this amazing world out here. Amazing world with so many amazing experiences, but people don't believe they can have them because they're in that dark place.
Yeah.
Right? So you just start by making the decision and mean it. And the answers will come. This podcast will come up on your fucking screen, man.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And I mean,
You know,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know, bro, but that's how it happened with me, man. It was like just all of a sudden I was introduced to that book, The Law of Attraction by Abraham Hicks, by Jerry Hicks and Esther Hicks. And they channel Abraham Hicks as The Law of Attraction. And I was introduced to that book, and that's it. Boom. Just started taking off, man.
That's good stuff. So that's the book that changed your life.
That's the book that changed my life. That's the book that started my journey, man. And the law of attraction, and this is the rules that I live by. You know, what you think, what you're speaking, and what you're listening to is creating your reality. And as soon as I don't know what it was, and it's an audio book, and the music, and you know, I just got done through this whole spiritual warfare that I was in for 2 years of just losing my fucking mind, man. And I listened, and it calmed me and it centered me, and just instantly I was hooked. I started meditating, you know, and I couldn't be around anything fucking negative, man. I couldn't be around it. I started like feeling energies, dude, and it was just it was amazing, man. And I started it for manifesting and studying manifesting because it's about manifesting. That's the main thing. And then it turned into the spiritual awakening, and the process just happened. So I don't know if it's something that you can make happen, a spiritual awakening, because my journey has been, I haven't done anything. It's happened on its own. You know,
Right.
like I said, like all of a sudden, maybe I did, because like I said, the book is all about being in joy, right? So it's about being in joy and being in joy. It's about not forcing yourself to doing something, but feeling good, and then you automatically want to do something. So each thing that I bettered in my life, like quitting smoking, I just didn't buy a pack of cigarettes one day. Just didn't want to smoke. And that's fucking crazy for somebody who smoked for 25 years.
Yeah.
That just didn't buy a pack one day. And that was it. Just stopped eating shitty food. My body didn't, so it was like a physical thing. The more I felt in joy, my body didn't want to take in shitty food. My body didn't want to take in alcohol. My body didn't want to smoke. So it's like, and it's hard, and people ask me to explain it to them, and it's hard to explain. But I think I just came up with the answer myself. The more I felt in joy, the more I didn't want to put these terrible things in my body.
Love that. So did you own your businesses prior to this experience where you came across this book and started listening to it? Or?
No, I lost everything.
Okay.
Lost everything, my kids, my business, everything, in complete despair. You know, I had absolutely nothing, and nowhere to turn, and nobody who understood, you know, and this book, it brought me to being with myself, you know, and it took me away from people, man. And that was 3 years ago.
Do you feel like prior to that you were letting people in your life influence your decisions and
No, I was
influence what you were doing?
no, I was fucking myself off. You know what I mean,
Okay.
dude? Yeah, I was tearing my, and that's the process. And they say in a spiritual awakening, right? You have to, you go completely crazy, man. You completely lose your mind. It's a spiritual war, and I don't want to get too deep, and you know, people will think it's too weird, but it's like it's evil entities trying to take you out before you're gonna awaken. You know, is what some people say. You know, I don't know what it was, but it's like a complete breakdown of the soul and the mind and the body, and it's like completely tears you down to nothing, right? And then you start coming back up. So it's literally, man, it's supernatural. What I've
Right.
gone through has been supernatural. You know, I can't fucking explain it. The things that I've seen in my meditations, and you know, and people believe in God. Like, I know God.
Right.
I know God. You know, I know what God's love feels like through this awakening. I've felt it through my meditations of just unbearable, pure fucking love. I can't even fucking explain it. Just shooting through my body where I'm in goosebumps and tears. You know, and so when I have these miraculous experiences, you know, once I had this like miraculous experience in my meditation, I I was like, oh my gosh, like that was supernatural. Like, that means anything could happen. Anything's possible. I can be anybody. I can become anything, right? That's what made me believe. And so, you know, meditation has been key to my awakening, man.
Right.
You know.
Um so I I think well, like you said, like it allowed you to believe. And that's when things really started happening, was when you truly started believing things could happen.
Right.
So you lost everything. You lost your everything. You were in
Everything.
you were in what people would call rock bottom.
Rock bottom, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, everything. My business that I built for 8 years, gone.
And
Everything
then
gone.
and then you went through this awakening, and then you gained everything new again.
Everything new 10 times, and 10 times faster,
And
and with half as much work,
right.
right? And so, you know, I started, and with that spiritual awakening, I also started recreating who I am. I started reading books. I started looking at things differently. I stopped being judgmental, open-minded, and I started recreating a new person. So everything was broken down, and then the structure of a new human being came out. Literally, I'm not the same person. I
Right.
might be in the same body, but I am not the same person. I have nothing to do with my old self, man. Like, I don't relate to my old self.
Like, just listening to you talk about it that way, it's like I don't know how to explain this, but I have it's like I can feel what you're saying, dude. Like, I love that, because a lot of us do need to detach from our old selves, I think. Because yes, learn from the past, but don't just learn from the past. Get rid of everything that was making you that person you didn't want to be altogether.
Yeah, because you can't identify with who you were and become somebody new.
Right.
You can't. You can't identify with that.
Right.
You know, and that's where and dude, I'm not saying any of this shit is easy. You know what I mean? I am not saying that either, and especially when you're down there in that deep. It's a process. You know, it's a process, man, but it's worth it. And then now it's like figuring out where I fit in. Where I fit in this world, you know, in different situations. I've figured out in most, but you know, as long as I just keep being honest with myself and speaking my truth, that's where I fit in. I fit in with my truth.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I fit in with my truth and being my authentic self.
And that makes a lot of sense, because I think everyone, to some extent, is everyone. I mean, that's part of society. Is like when you're younger and you're in school, you want to fit in with a certain crowd, right? And like everyone wants to fit in somewhere in life, and we all give ourselves the deception that we do fit in somewhere. We all deceive ourselves and say, I'm this type of person. But what you're saying is when you really open yourself up to yourself, it doesn't matter where you fit in. You just do because you are who you are.
Yeah, you're not. What was the word I was going to say?
You don't limit yourself to a certain.
You're not in any category. We're all unique.
Yeah.
We're all unique human beings, right? And when you fit into a category, your uniqueness is taken away. Your creativity is taken away, right? But they teach you out there not to be unique and to be like everybody else, because it's a trap, man. It's all organized trap, and like I said, it takes away your creativity and your uniqueness. I mean, I don't think I ever fit in before. I always was different, but definitely right now it's like, I don't know, man. I'm nobody. I'm nothing. I'm nowhere. At the same time, I'm everything. I'm everybody. That's just how I feel, man.
I love that shit, dude, because it's so important to be, and like that, to me, that's self-awareness, being able to look at yourself and say, I'm nothing. I'm a small entity in this world, right? But I'm everything. I'm so
Yeah.
fulfilled. I'm
Yeah,
so
yeah,
happy to be
yeah,
myself.
yeah.
Like, I feel greatness.
Yes.
And even though I am, nobody's anything, dude. There's so much going on in this world, let alone the universe, right? I mean, just our Earth is such a small, tiny little dot in the universe.
Yeah, we're just
so
a
no
little,
one's nothing.
We're just a little ant. There's so much. Yeah, I agree. There's so much going on.
Right. But at the same time, you can be great.
Yeah, dude, you fucking explained it, bro. Like that's the thing too. It's like, I think it's the difference between humbleness, being humble, because people talk bad about that too. When I tell people, like, you need to empower yourself. You are such a powerful being, and you need to empower yourself and think highly of yourself. But then there's that oxymoron of ego being involved and being humble. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's why I feel like the best way to explain it is that I'm nobody, I'm nowhere, I'm everywhere, I'm everyone. I'm everything. We're everything. We're all connected.
Yeah. I like the way you say it. That made that like.
Well, you
that,
broke it down. You
know,
fucking broke it down perfectly, man. So I can tell that you understood, what I was saying. So you broke it down definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely good, man. Good
dude,
shit.
and like these discussions put such a smile on my face.
Yeah,
You know what I
dude.
mean? Because like it's so important to like have discussions like this. Like we gotta, as humans, like we're so wrapped up in the day to day. Like we gotta like step back from that. We'd always talk about how like fuck reality, man.
Yeah.
Like yes, we have to live in it, but at the same time, like we gotta step back and be aware of ourselves and be aware of our surroundings. And that's how you find gratitude, and that's how you find, the feeling of gratefulness to just be alive, right? And I love that. I don't think as humans with the fast-paced world that we get enough time to like have these kinds of discussions, right? So if you have someone in your life that you can have crazy discussions with and like just get away from reality with, be grateful for that person, because it's extremely important to be able to step away from the day to day of reality. That's all, the only way I can put it. It's
And
you know.
speak from the heart.
Yeah.
Speaking from the heart feels good. Like that's where I feel the most fulfilled, having conversations like this with somebody and speaking from the heart and speaking from truth. That's probably my biggest joy in life, is these conversations, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Because we all like, we all talk about the heart, and that's where love comes from, right? And all of that. But like I don't think like when we just say, oh, I have love in my heart, that we're really acknowledging like how powerful what is in our heart is, if we let it out,
Yeah, but love is everything. So when you're speaking from your heart, that's authenticity, that's truth. Even when you're telling somebody when they're wrong, it's all love, man.
Yeah, and that's a good point.
It's all love. You can be stern with somebody and tell them, look, man, you're wrong.
Right.
You know, you're wrong. What you're doing isn't cool, or whatever it is, or I don't like how you, whatever. That comes from the heart too, dude.
Right. And if you love someone and they are in the wrong on something, or they are misunderstanding something, or they are confused about something, and you don't tell them, hey, you're wrong about this, are you really loving them?
Yeah, you're not. And so many people have all these people around them constantly that, there's one thing building somebody up but agreeing with them, right? But the true friend is the one that'll tell you when you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's the people. Like I said, that's what I hold value to is authenticity. And when people tell the truth, man, those are my closest friends.
Right.
But don't just fucking, don't just agree with me all the time, man. That's not love, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, real love is being able to tell your friend or someone that you love that they're wrong about something, even though it's gonna upset them.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you're hindering their ability to see something through another lens.
Yeah. And I'm that guy, man. I'll tell, you know what I mean? I'll tell people, dude.
I love that. And like I said, like the way that I'm restructuring my environment and I'm changing who I surround myself with, that's the kind of people I want to surround myself with. Tell me when I'm wrong. And I might fucking get mad at you because I don't understand it at the time, right? Don't worry about that, because eventually I'll be like, you know what? I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah, dude. And and look, man, if you don't bring value to my life, I'm not fucking with you.
Yeah.
I don't need to talk to people, and I don't need to have, like I said, I'm happy with myself. I don't need to have friends to like talk a bunch of shit. You got to bring value to my life. I'm not saying I need anything out of you, but you have to hold some kind of value, or I don't fuck with you.
Right.
I don't need 100 friends around me telling me how great I am. I already know how great I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I already know what I am, And so when you know who you are and you're comfortable with you're comfortable in your own skin, you don't need people.
Right.
You're not going to.
Yep. And if I'm not bringing value to your life, I don't expect you to have me in your life, right?
Yeah.
I only want to be in people's lives who I bring value to, and I
Right.
only want people in my life who bring value to me. And that, like you said, that's not money, that's not something physical. It's nothing like that. It's like the true feeling of value of having that person in your life is what's important. Like, it doesn't have to be something tangible or even something
Right.
specific.
Just a different
It's
perspective.
a feeling.
Yeah. Just a different perspective. You
Yep.
could have a different perspective that I don't have, and that brings value to my life.
Absolutely.
And if you're doing something with your life, right, that builds me up.
Yep.
You want to surround yourself with people there's a great fucking topic, man. I mean, who you surround yourself with, that's who you are.
Yeah.
And if you want, you gotta have a circle of people, man, that are doing something with their lives. I have different people that are doing different things, but anybody that I fuck with, man, they're doing something with their lives.
Right. Absolutely.
If you're not going to, I'm not gonna fuck with you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fuck with you because you're gonna affect me.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And if you do remove people from your life, if you do stop surrounding yourself with certain people because they're not bringing value or because they are bringing negativity, you don't have to feel bad about that.
Not one bit.
Right? You don't need to feel like some feeling of guilt for doing what's right for yourself. We only have one chance at this life, and you got to do everything necessary to make this chance at life worth it all.
Yeah, that's your mission. You got to be fully committed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. Good stuff. Yeah, man. So, hopefully you guys enjoy this discussion. And I love that our podcast is like, we just sit here and talk, and then like people listen to it, and like, I'm not trying to talk at the camera or anything like that. And don't get me wrong, I want to be interactive with the audience. Put your thoughts in the comments, whether you agree or disagree with what we're saying. Speak with us. We're always open to discussion. We'd love to get some interactivity with people, and we are always open, whether we disagree or agree, on having good, healthy discussion. But this podcast is about listening to two people or three people or however many people we have on an episode, have a healthy discussion and finding where you relate to it. And, and I love the format of this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope you guys get something out of this. And if you do or you don't, let us know what you think.
Absolutely.
So again, we're everywhere that you listen, any podcasting platform or all the major ones, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of that. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram if you want to interact with us there. We're on TikTok if you want to interact with us there. Wherever you're at, we're there. Hit us up. We're super stoked to be doing this. I can't thank the people that watch enough for supporting and watching, and we're just super grateful for that. So Instagram is instagram.com/breakingboundaries. Find us there. Everywhere I go, there's a few pages or a few channels named Breaking Boundaries. Look for the fist breaking through the wall. That's how you know that you're finding us. That's our logo. All black and white, so it's easy to spot. So Instagram.com/breaking boundaries, YouTube.com/the @breaking boundaries -pod, TikTok.com/the @breaking boundaries pod. But we're there, guys. Hit us up.
Awesome.
Interact with us. Carlo, thanks for the discussion, man.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Peace.
See you next week.
1, 2,